What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
How's it going?
And to my left, Zachary Parks.
What's up?
In case you do not know, Team Chat Podcast is a video game podcast where we talk about games, the ones we love, the ones we hate, and everything in between. If you want to get in contact with us, you can do that by sending us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com, following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, and subscribing to our YouTube and iTunes channels. If you want to support the show, you can do that as well by going to patreon.com/teamchatpodcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support the show, and in return, we will give you a cool perk, like getting the episode early before its General Tuesday release, and access to our private Team Chat Podcast Discord server. And we want to give a special shout out to our newest patron, Louise, who just this last week joined up on the Patreon. And
patron. No,
Don't they have like? Doesn't like Jake Paul have like the Team 10?
Yeah, but we don't talk about that.
We should have a Team Chat.
The Team Chat.
Yeah,
I always say
gross.
whenever I send the invite for the Patreon for the Discord invite and all that stuff, I'm always like, thanks for joining the TCP crew. So I say
there
crew.
we go. We're the crew. Anyways, let's all give a warm welcome to Luis.
Thank you, Luis.
Thank you, Luis.
Gracias.
All right. Well, we do have a song contest update.
We do.
So Mogan last week gave the hint of, I thought I remembered it, and now I'm going blank.
Oh, the hint was, I didn't know that corpses were proper attire for the opera.
Fancy opera.
It was
Did someone say the opera?
Exactly.
Buffy, we're late to the opera.
Throw on my best corpse.
My best skeleton.
But the game was correctly guessed by Andrew Mogan, Bro Mogan, as Nier Automata.
I actually did not. I didn't see it coming. And he didn't know that it was me that responded through the Team Chat Facebook.
Oh, really?
The answer was Nier Automata.
Automata.
You always say it so funny.
I always do. It could go either way.
Anyway,
Quite
so
honestly.
it was Simone. I don't remember what. Yeah, there's a boss that you fight in Nier Automata that is this giant robotic woman that used to be an opera singer, but she's gone crazy, of course, in their rusted out apocalypse world. Mm-hmm. And she's like decorated her own self with smaller robot corpses. Like other ones that she's killed, she's like, and I'll hang one as earrings and one will be my fancy sash.
Badass.
And she's like, I must become more beautiful. Wow. And then she tries to just super murder you and you're like, Miss Simone, calm down. You're being a diva again.
Yeah. Might I suggest?
But that was a pretty sweet song, though. I have to say.
It was a kick.
Everything I've heard that you played from the Nier.
Yeah, that soundtrack.
Nier is
for the music sodes.
I did it for the music sode, but not as like an actual contest. And the music Nier is just top freaking notch. It never gets old.
Good. That's good.
Great, grand, wonderful.
Let's drive the bus. But anyway, so we are planning on doing some small updates to the song and how we deal with song contests and all that stuff. But we're still ironing that out a little bit here. But for now, though, it's going to stay the same. We're thinking about changing it up to doing, I think, which was one of our original ideas of how to even handle this, of doing a soundtrack spotlight instead, where obviously every episode we talk about a specific song, and it's going to be listener supported, and obviously we'll bring up our own if we didn't receive a submission this week. Or for a week, we'll do it that way as well. But the song contest just sometimes it doesn't have the amount of, to be perfectly honest, it didn't have the amount of interaction and like level that we wanted. It's more often than not just became one of us doing it again, which it was fun. Provided a bit, yeah. It's also very hard, or could be very hard. And so I feel like changing it to this different model. We'll try this out, and if it doesn't work, we might switch back to this. It's all a test. With what we're doing, but anyway, we figured that might be a bit easier way to get more audience interaction and more participation in sharing wonderful video game soundtracks. So, but though, Bro Mogan, since you did win, still go ahead and send us one for this next
trapped
episode.
in a loop.
We'll start.
It's not collusion if we tell him he can't.
Exactly. So this is the last. So we'll do this for this one more week, and then the next week after that, we'll switch over to this song spotlight. So.
I like that.
You can submit those anyway.
Any way you want.
The easiest way, of course, is the Team Chat Podcast Discord.
That's right.
So if you're not already a patron, you should be. Patreon.com/Team Chat Podcast.
Boom.
Financing, APR,
All right, well, today's topic, we're going back. We realized looking back at the last few episodes that we've done very discussion heavy ones based on either industry news or latest happenings, musings based on recent news. So it's time to get away from news for an episode, get back to games. I mean, they've all been about games, but get back to specifically about games. In that we're bringing a review-heavy episode this week. Each of us have prepared a slight review of a game that we've been currently playing to grace your ears. So the first game we're going to start off with today, I have been punishing myself more than playing Studio MDHR's Cuphead.
Ooh.
I'm glad. So this was a game that obviously came out last year, received great critical acclaim, and spoiler alert, I'm not going to say different. It's great, but just right off the bat.
What if you were like, it is trash?
It's fucking terrible.
Everyone's wrong.
I hate this, but
It sounds too hard.
It's pretty damn difficult.
It sounds too hard.
So the thing about so this is Studio MDHR, independent game, and the thing about it is that it's the big thing that set it apart from everything else. It was hand drawn, 1920s cartoon style is how this game was animated, and so I decided it was a big one for last year. I missed out on being able to play it, so I was like, all right, now's the time. I'm gonna do it, so we can have some fresh review content. But so yeah. Off the bat, like I said, it's incredibly difficult. There's a point in the game where you can go in the second world, which I'm there. I'm about halfway through, I think.
The game?
The game.
And you're in the second world.
Yeah, there's only 3 worlds in the finale.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not a very long game, to be honest. It's really not. There are 5 or 6 in the first, maybe more than that. I put a tweet in the first world of how many there are, and honestly, if you beat the game in one try, with a level on one try, the levels only take a minute and a half to 2 minutes.
Okay.
Depending on how fast you try to go. But so there's this point in the game though where you can go and talk to this reflecting pool, and it tells you how many times you've died. And when I had done this just in World 2, I was at over 200 times.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's a little intense. So I guess I'll just start off with a basic summary. I mean, the thing about this is there's really the nice thing about it, I guess, is really there's not many spoilery things I can say about this because it's a very basic platforming game. You run, jump, dodge obstacles, do all that kind of stuff. But the main story, the main plot of it, which I thought at first glance was a little bit darker than I was expecting it to be, because it starts off, you and your Cuphead, and your brother Mugman go to a casino to gamble. And you're doing real good at the craps table, and then and so while you're playing and everything, the casino is, you then find out, owned by the devil.
Of course it is, naturally, as all casinos are.
Just telling you what. And so you're doing really good, and the devil's like, hey, tell you what, Sonny, if you do really good on this, if you win the next hand, you win all the riches of this casino. But if you don't, obviously I'm going to own your soul. And you're just like, fuck it. You roll the dice. And then you wind up busting, obviously, getting them snake eyes, and the devil owns your soul. But you then try to figure out a way to obviously get out of this. And you're like, shit, I now am a minion of the devil's. But the whole thing is, apparently there are all these other creatures in Inkwell Isle, which is where you live, that have also owe soul contracts to the devil, but they haven't paid up on them yet.
Oh, they haven't croaked yet.
Exactly. So you're going through this, and so that's what this game then becomes. You go back to your father, Elder Kettle, who takes care of you.
That's
and
cute.
He tells you okay, well, the way to get out of this is you got to get those souls for the devil. So that's the whole point of this game, is you're going and fighting these other people in this island to bring their soul contracts to the devil so you can get your ass out of trouble with the devil.
Nice.
What an opportunist.
Seriously, right? So
I
it's kind of funny.
So you're basically the muscle man for the devil now,
Yeah.
and you're
Saving yourself
collecting
by
up on his debts.
damning the others.
Exactly.
Gosh.
So it's kind of this really weird thing like that. Yeah. And so so that's the main story of this. And so all these evil from trailers and whatever that you've seen of you fighting all these monsters and stuff. No, they're kind of they all put themselves in this equally bad pickle, but still they're trying to save themselves from the devil, and you're here to enforce his justice.
Oh,
My
that's
God.
terrible. Cuphead's the bad guy. Kind
From a
of.
certain point of view. And so anyway, other than that, so that's the story. So the big thing about it is, yes, as everyone's heard, and I'm sure, and we mentioned already, the game is incredibly difficult. incredibly difficult. As I said, died over 200 plus times. But the thing about it is how you play the game is so fun, and the animations are so delightful and joyous and all this stuff. You don't care. Now, I still have found myself a few times having to step away and be like, I need to stop.
I need to take a break.
I need to take a break.
This is frustrating.
Exactly. But still, you're never to the point where it's like, I hate this game and I never want to play it again. I've not yet
It's still
reached that point.
grabs your back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so here's the first world. I took a screenshot of it when I beat it. Of how many things there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
What
so
grade
there's 7.
did you get?
Not very good. A lot of C minuses and 1 A minus on there.
Tisk tisk.
A-.
Yeah, it's better than a B.
Yes.
I think you can get. Isn't the highest you can get an S?
An S is superior,
Yeah.
superior ranking.
Yeah.
So yeah, I still have to go through an A.
AS?
Yeah, and then goes to S minus, and then I guess S.
Oh,
So
you're
yeah,
right.
I'm never getting there.
Loser.
Well, because the whole thing about it is what makes it so difficult is that you start each level with only 3 hit points, and you cannot regenerate them throughout the level. So if you lose, so it's one shot.
Yeah.
At it. So you basically get hit 3 times, you're out. Now you can, if you were to collect enough coins, you can go to the Pork Rinds Emporium and buy an extra heart or an extra life, but it lessens the damage of your weapons. And I'm
Gotcha.
like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
No, that's not. I don't, like the game. How it goes is like that. There's no way for me to reason for. I need as much damage output as I possibly
Gotcha.
can. And the nice thing about Pork Rinds too is you can buy other weapons. Like you can swap those out. But there are 3 level types. There's run and gun, which is where the levels that you collect coins, and it's like a very straightforward. What you would expect of a platformer game, dodging enemies, shooting enemies, jumping up, dodging all this different stuff. But the main goal of those are to collect coins, which then you can spend at the shop. Then there's just the normal boss battles, which is where you gain soul contracts, and then there's mausoleums, which are where you can unlock. You save this magic pot from another pot actually that's been captured by these like ghost creatures, and it gives you an extra super, and there are only 3 of those in each world because you can only unlock the 3 supers. But the thing is too, though, you can't keep going back to the run and gun levels and just getting more coins to buy stuff. Each level has like 5 coins, and that's it. So once you get all 5 coins, you can't go back and get the coins again. So you have to be really careful. And there's only 2 per world. So you have to be very careful with what you decide to buy at Pork Rinds Emporium. I will say, you meet this when you start the game. One of the very first things you do is you meet this guy who's sitting on a bridge who looks like a coin, and he's like, "Hey, I don't need these coins. You look like somebody who could use some coins." And he gives you 3 coins and tells you to go to Pork Rinds. But this is the only one thing that I legitimately did not like about Cuphead. You go to Pork Rinds, and if you can like swipe through the things you can buy, but if you hit A to purchase, that purchases it. It doesn't give you are you sure you want to buy this?
Oh, come on. You should have known that.
And so
aren't you?
I wound up buying something that I didn't want to buy, and Sam, when she played, wound up buying something she didn't want to buy. And I was like, damn it, I forgot to tell you that happens. But most, I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like most things you say, I want to buy this. Are you sure you want to buy this? Yes.
Well, I mean, I guess the game just presumes that you're playing a super hard game.
Yeah.
You're probably decisive.
That was probably a decision they made.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess so.
I
I guess
Yeah.
so. But
Fuck with them.
They were like, none of this wishy-washy back and forth crap.
I
You
guess
will make your decision and make a purchase.
exactly. They don't want you sitting there forever being like, do I really want to buy this?
Exactly. It's for the best.
So the big thing that I've noticed when playing this game is that and the good thing about it is obviously with most platformers, pattern recognition, like everybody has a pattern of their attack or what's going to come up and everything like that, but it's different every single time. So like a boss may have like 3 different attacks that it'll use, and the thing about it too, like I was just playing this one in World 2 that's you're fighting this big genie, and he at the very beginning will open this treasure chest, and out of it will come either like these flying knives that will try to attack you, these like cat sarcophagi that will open, and then like beetles come out and chase you, or what's the other? Oh, he just opens the treasure chest and a whole bunch of treasure flies out of it, and you have to dodge it all.
You have to dodge the
So at this first like stage of the boss fight is going to be he's going to open something from his chest, but you don't know what it is. So even though you may be like, oh, I've got it down. I got the knives down. I can dodge the knives all day long,
Right.
but he's going to open it up. It's going to be
Right.
the something else.
Right.
So even though you are able to figure out patterns, and that's the key to beating the levels, they add in that spice of randomness that keeps it fresh literally every time you're playing it. So it almost does become it's still, so that makes it though that each level you play is a strong combination of both skill and luck, but it really is sometimes like 50-50
Gotcha.
because of how difficult it can be. Other than that, so I already said you can buy the power-ups, different weapons, different level types, and obviously we talked about the animations and all that different stuff and how wonderful it is. The other big thing about this game that is truly, truly magical is the soundtrack.
I was about to say, tell me about the soundtrack. I was literally going to ask that.
So, soundtrack is done by Christopher Madigan. It is in the style of like 1920s big band jazz. It's very big band jazz influenced. It is superb. Like I'm listening to. So obviously we already know about the incredible detail and work that went into actually animating Cuphead. Having it be all hand drawn and all that different stuff. But it's one of those things they did not skip on the soundtrack. The soundtrack sounds like it is something you could literally go to any jazz club and you would hear it, because it's just especially the one song Introduction is great. I believe it's the second track on the thing, and they even have like the title screen song is like a barbershop quartet style, like very harmonized and all this other stuff. It's great. But so yeah, Introduction, it's just got like incredible horns, incredible like you can hear the bass line, the slapping the bass and all that stuff, and then incredible piano playing, and all of it comes together. And it's just one of these things. It's like they could have easily done something very simple, it's in the same style of the big band 1920s jazz and all that, but they just went full out with it. And especially again for an indie game, that's an incredible. The amount of work that they put into this game continually as I keep playing it is mind blowing, and it's an incredible a testament to how great this game really is. But yeah, the soundtrack, it's one, I'm not really even a big fan of jazz big band music, but I will still put on Cuphead soundtrack.
I mean, I bet they probably actually didn't have to shell out that much money to get like a barbershop quartet, because what are they doing with their time? They were like, thank God.
Seriously.
They probably volunteered. They were like, we heard you were looking for a barbershop quartet.
Would love to do this pro bono.
Probably so, but still, it's it's so good. Like, I want to play it. I want to play a little bit. But anyway, so overall, like I said, I'm only halfway through. I'll wait and give, like, I can confidently say, like, I love this game. Like, it's like I don't doubt that I'm going to get to the very end and be like, something's going to happen that's going to sway my opinion back to hating it.
We should have a meme of Jerrett's reversals.
Yeah, we should.
See how
have I had a reversal?
No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, other than the Division and now both Destiny games.
Yeah. Other than those.
Aside from 1, 2, and 3.
I'm in the clear.
Besides those three, I have a perfect track record of loving every game I play.
Both Destiny games. That's funny.
So, I'll put the real thing in.
Ooh. That's awesome.
See?
Yeah, jazz.
And again, this is the introduction song.
That's great. I like it.
But yeah. So, listen to the Cuphead soundtrack, Christopher Madigan. It is, as I tweeted at him, it is a delight.
It is a delight.
Thumbs up
Sir.
emoji.
Thumbs up emoji.
But no, so that's basically my big points on it. Like, it's an incredibly fun game, incredibly difficult. It will make you sometimes want to pull your hair out, but never to the point that you're like, I want to quit this game and never touch it again. I definitely understand now all the correlations in the fan art that mix together Cuphead with Dark Souls, because it is very much like in that wheelhouse. So I got Sam playing because I was like, I think you'll like this, because she very much likes just straight platformers.
Yeah, Sam doesn't like talking.
No.
Or stories.
Not really.
No.
Not really in her video games. Not in her video games. She doesn't. And so I wanted to try this one though. And the same thing. She was like, "It's really fun, but I'm so mad." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's basically kind of how the game is." She came home from work the first day I was playing it, and she's like, "Were you just yelling?" And I was like, "Yes." I very much was, because I was incredibly frustrated. But Cuphead so far, a superior game, going with it by the game's own ranking system. It's
excellent.
superior.
An S rank.
Rank.
Did it win Indie Game of the Year?
Yes, at Game Awards.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it took.
Did it also win Art Direction?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Deserve that.
Good.
If it didn't, that was the thing. And when we were talking about Game Awards, I was like, obviously, I would like Horizon to win, and even though it won nothing. But especially in art direction, I was like, I'm voting Horizon straight across the board, except art direction because of nobody's attempted that.
No one's like Cuphead absolutely deserves it. They shot everybody else out of the water
by far. So great game. If you're looking for a not quick, but if you're looking for a really fun but incredibly challenging game, pick up Cuphead.
Okay, so I think I talked about Fortnite a couple episodes ago. I don't know how in depth I went with it though. I don't remember.
Just that you've been having crazy
I've been
times
having
in the
a
wilderness.
blast playing Fortnite. I really actually have enjoyed myself quite a bit with Fortnite. It's probably the best free game I've ever played. It's free. It's effing free.
That's pretty good.
I don't understand how they're making money.
I think it's technically a beta right now.
Oh,
yeah.
I believe
it's like what PUBG was doing.
Yeah, same thing. So
PUBG was in early access for forever.
Yeah, so this review is really just of the Battle Royale mode because I can't play the single player mode, which I'd really like to. I think the single, I think this is actually just a little side note here. It's a good testament to allowing players access to part of the game because now I want the whole game. It's one of those examples where I'm like, wow, I kind of, the one part of the game I'm playing is done so well that I would really like to explore the other part of the game. And so
then they've done their job.
They did their job. They did it correctly, I think. And so, all I've been playing is the Battle Royale mode, which is easily comparable to other Battle Royale games like PUBG. The thing that separates Fortnite from PUBG, besides its obvious graphics difference, Fortnite has the shell-shaded, sort of cartoony look.
I was actually very surprised when I saw Fortnite in pictures. I was like, that's what it looks like?
Yeah, I know. And that's a little disconcerting at first. Like, everyone that I play with, me, James, Cheat, Corey, like, all my friends that I play with online are like, well, at first we're like, this looks like a cartoon version of PUBG, and this is going to be lame. We like the real gritty stuff. We like the PUBG stuff.
Bunch of edgelords.
And it's unfortunate, another side note that PUBG did not do very well on the Xbox One. It had, came with so many glitches. It was unplayable. It was a disaster.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I thought about picking it up when it was on there.
And both these games are computer games. I should emphasize that. They shouldn't be played on the console.
Yeah.
They're the fact that I'm playing Fortnite on the console, people are probably rolling their eyes. Probably.
I don't think it has a PC version.
Fortnite does.
Oh, it does?
Yeah,
okay.
It does. And PUBG also obviously does. And people you should play PUBG and Fortnite. Probably on PC.
PUBG seems the most PC game.
It does. I think Fortnite
bunch.
actually does a better translation over to consoles. And so, that is what it is. I play it on Xbox, and so do my friends. So fuck you.
I play it on Xbox as well.
Yeah, so does Jerrett.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's a blast. There's some things that immediately striked me is really... I guess the concept in general, this is my first Battle Royale game, so I'm giving a lot of credit to Fortnite, where maybe that credit should be given to other games that have already done this, but the idea of having one map and 100 players and every man for himself, that idea there is something I've always wanted. Ever since I was a kid. I remember I used to play Oblivion and be like, man, it'd be cool if this map was just filled with people and we all were enemies. That would be really cool.
And no one was friends.
And no one was friends, and we have to strike each other down. That's a game I always wanted to play. So Fortnite coming out, even though I wasn't that excited, I kind of once I got into it after a couple of days, this game is just right for me. And there's, I guess you could talk about the map a little bit and the different locations that you can go to. You can just think of it as a big island, and there's a city, there's forests, there's mountains, there's a bunch of different areas, and between those areas there's even smaller areas, and they all have chests that you can find and different weapons, and there's some luck involved in if I land here, will I get some weapons? If I land here, well, I might get nothing. And
right.
So there's all that, and let's just talk about it from a solo perspective, every man for himself. And so when you do that, it's there's that nice balance, I think. I never feel cheated, I'd say, which I think is a game. This type of game could be a common occurrence, being this game, everyone knows where to go and I don't. But for the most part, there's places that are higher risk reward territories than others. Yeah. But for the most part, I feel like I could go out to the country and go to a small house, and there might be some good stuff there, and I could
at least a pistol or shotgun, something.
Exactly, something out there. And I guess to backtrack a little bit, the way the game works, so once everyone lands and everyone's getting stuff, 3 minutes go by, and then the storm starts to come in, and everyone has to go to this white circle that's even smaller somewhere else. And so basically you're constantly trying to get somewhere else so that you're outside the storm. And it gets smaller
so that's how
and
the game
smaller
forces
and smaller.
You to actually fight each other.
Yeah, the map gets smaller.
Yeah, if it never did that, it would take so
Oh, it would be
Like
it would
just
be
an endless
hours.
game of cat and mouse.
It
Like
would
you
be.
can't catch me because we have a huge map and I'm just running around.
You
in
would never even
circles.
find anybody. Yeah,
No.
you have to. Yeah, it constricts the zone over and
Okay,
over.
that
Which is
really
nice.
helps my understanding.
But
of
what's
the game.
interesting about it is, so the storm will come in, and so you're getting your stuff, and the storm starts to come in. You can the storm doesn't kill you like that. It just slowly takes down your health. The first storm. Then the second storm takes your health out a little bit more. The third storm takes your health out even more and more. So over time, it's more influential in getting people to the circle. But yeah, it's interesting. You can like fight in the storm. Like people have it's not like the end of the world if you get caught in the storm, though it is pretty shitty.
Pretty bad.
Yeah,
You want to get out of it.
Definitely not something you want to do, and it gives you a motivation. It gives you something to do. Because besides just killing everybody, it's like, what else am I going to do besides loot? And that gets kind of boring. You can like chop down trees, and so that's the other component of Fortnite that I really like is you can build forts, and that's the biggest difference I'd say from PUBG. Probably.
Yeah, there's no building in PUBG.
There's no building in PUBG, so it's like Minecraft in the sense that you can chop down trees, chop down stone. It's like brick, stone, and wood. And nearly everything on the map can be destroyed. And so that's kind of fun. So you always start with a pickaxe, and you can always, at least get wood, at least get stone or whatever. And once you have that material, you can start building little fortresses. And however you want. You can build a wall, platform, stairs, and like a roof. Those are your 4 different components. And you can use those however you will. And people obviously build beautiful things, like really well done forts, like in the middle of the circle, and they're like ready to go.
Which they can build it so fast, and
They do build it really
part
fast.
for me.
I can't build that fast. I'm not a great builder.
I'm not either.
That's like another component. Like I like playing. Like I actually enjoy like staying in bushes,
That should be on
shivering in
Zach's,
bushes.
That
likes
should be
that
on
stealth.
Zach's team chat
I do.
bio. Can't build, prefers bushes.
Prefer bushes. Yeah, we have a joke that I'm like, quick, find a bush.
Yeah, seriously.
And I dive into one. It's the coward's way, in my opinion. But I like it. I like it. It's less conspicuous. You know, it's like if I'm behind a tree in a forest, like no one's gonna look there
You are
twice.
taking the coward's way. You're
No, I'm being sneaky. But if I build a big fort, everyone's like, well, obviously someone's in that fort.
What if you're just building decoy forts?
People get- that's-
like, what
that
if
happens.
you built a huge fort and then
then
hid
you're
in
in
the
a bush, yeah,
right next
yeah.
to
I
it?
mean,
I mean, it would
That
probably
would
work
be so
because you'd
funny.
probably see so many people like
You
with
would.
rifles like coming up and like looking up at the top.
Yeah.
and
shoot
like
them in the
that.
face
There
because
was
they're not paying attention.
2 nights ago. It was me and 3 other friends. We were all playing, and we got to the It was 3v1, and we didn't know where the guy was. And the circle's like as big as this table. Like, where is he?
Yeah.
And there was one bush in the middle, and he came out, and he shot my other friend, and then I killed him. But I was like, dude,
Oh,
this
man,
guy, if
he
this
almost
guy
got
had
you.
won, yeah, he would have like sent us messages like,
Seriously.
uninstall your game, losers.
That's so funny.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
so bushes are great. But yeah, that's another thing about the game. It's like there's so many nooks and crannies, and
Yeah.
there's so many. Like every time you go to a city or to a town, you feel like a SWAT team. Especially when you're playing with friends. You're like, okay, let's look at this building. Like, get my back. Like, someone might be in there just waiting with a gun to blast you away. So that's like. Even though there's a lot of downtime in the game, even though I think relative to PUBG it's very quick, there is still a fair amount of downtime, like traveling, building, looting. There's always that sense of like, I'm not safe.
Oh,
and I love that.
yeah.
Every corner could like release danger.
So
upon
you can't like just build a fort and live to old age.
You could. So like sometimes we land and the first circle will appear. It's like, hey, this is where everyone needs to go. This is where the storm will stop coming in. And sometimes you're right in the middle. So sometimes you get lucky. You're right in the middle of the first circle and you're like, let's build a big fort here. And you build a big fort and the circle gets smaller and smaller. Even though it's random, sometimes you're still in it. And if you're in it till the very end, you can be like, we're going to get to the end game. There's going to be 10 people left and
you're just
we're
gonna
having a
pick
big
them all
fort.
off as they come in.
Yeah, but what's happened now with the game is people have gotten better and people have gotten really good, and so it's like having a fort actually now. It's great and it does help, but people are really good at like building stairs really fast, and they'll just build right over your fort and jump in with like a shotgun, and it's like so you're not that. It's protected to a degree, and
And they can be destroyed by weapons, right? Like
yeah,
you
by the
shoot it
time
enough.
you get to the end game, people have rocket launchers, and people
Yeah.
have really good weapons, and so your fort is not as.
And forts are destructible?
They are. So
Okay.
pretty much everything in the game is destructible. I'd say virtually everything.
So in theory, they wouldn't even have to climb your fort.
No.
They could just slowly take it down.
But this happens a lot in games. So it's like 2 forts are battling. It's like RPGs back and forth. The wall gets blown out. You could immediately rebuild it. Then it gets blown again. Immediate rebuild it. So you can run out of material, but like you can keep fortifying your fort over and over. So it's like you see that happening a lot. Like fort go down, then it gets built back up, and it goes down, and it gets built back up.
so
it's really
like
fast.
a battle of sieges.
Yeah, it's really fast. And end game is very different from the beginning. Like the end game is more. That's when skill. Like you really need to be like really good. You have to have a really good shot. You have to build really fast. It's like totally different than at the beginning, where it's more like just getting the upper hand on somebody, right?
Yeah.
I've always thought there's a couple other like really good positives. I always thought the balance with the weapons was really good. It's kind of like that traditional ranking system of green, blue, purple, red, or green, blue, purple, yellow for the different types of weapons. So a shotgun, you could either get a blue shotgun, a purple shotgun, or a green shotgun, or whatever. And same with pretty much every other weapon. And it's nice to like, I never feel cheated. I never feel like I lost that battle because of some outside force that none of us could control. I always felt like, that makes sense. You know, obviously I get pissed, but I'm still like, nothing. It's not like the fighting mechanics are not fantastic, but they're pretty darn good. Which is a testament to the game, considering that it's not this like PUBG realistic game. Right. It's a little annoying with a lot of jumping and shotgunning, and you kind of get like it doesn't feel as realistic as I'd like. Like I think one of the biggest downfalls of it, like when you do raid a town, it doesn't feel you can like build on top of a roof and then jump to another roof, and then you can jump on like a jumpy pad and hang glide somewhere else. It's like not very realistic. It's not very
that sounds awesome.
Tempered. It is fun. Like it's fun in its own way, and I'm surprised I like it so much. But it's not tempered in the sense of like we have to like go to this wall and like let's raid this room and throw a smoke in there, and so it's stuff like that. You don't get any of that. People can like fly out and do all this crazy shit, and you're like, it's ridiculous. But it's fun. I don't know exactly why it works so well, but everything just seems to have a nice balance to it.
I think it's because of how quick, like you were saying, like how quick everything can be.
It is quick, yeah.
Like, I mean, you can die, it's happened to me quite a few times in the little I've played where, I die within the first 20 people to die,
Yeah, you die immediately.
But then you immediately just leave and join in another game.
Yeah,
and you're in another game within like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think, and with PUBG, from what I've seen, it's more like this is an investment. Each game is a really big investment because I think the map's bigger. I think
I think so too.
And I think it just takes a lot more time to find people, and people really get more invested. Fortnite, it's like the arcade version, but there's something good to be said about that.
No, I mean it's a lot of fun. It's the thing of where it's a whole lot of fun, but I'm also like I have to avoid this because I would play it so much.
Yeah, it's addicting.
Yeah,
know your own limits.
It's addicting.
I do.
Smart man.
But still though, it's incredibly fun. I actually. I was playing the other day, or last week or something like that, randomly, and I did get to number 9.
Nice.
And I was like, that was my first time to get in the top 10.
Yeah.
I was feeling really good about myself, but I got killed by some jumpy fool.
Yeah, so people are good. Like, when they're good. They're jumping, building, and like they hit their shots all the time. You're like, how are they cheating?
But
they're using aimbots.
Yeah,
Come
aimbots.
on.
That's my thing. I can't build for shit. Like,
I'm not great at it either, but yeah, I know what you mean. It's like and that comes back to the console. I think it might be more efficient on PC.
Yeah, it's a very confusing thing. It's like
B,
you have to hit
then
B,
Y,
and then my thing is I can never figure out how to exit out of it.
Yeah, like
so like I'll be like, ooh, there's a chest up there. I'm going to build a staircase. And as soon as I switch to the build tools, somebody starts shooting at me, and then I can't get out of the build tools.
And you don't have a weapon.
Yeah,
you're like, It's not perfect, but it's probably as good as I've seen. Like I don't know how else you would do it.
But again, it's just like it sucks. It's
yeah,
good.
But there's so many funny moments. Like the other day we were like building stairs. So we were like on top of a mountain really far away from a circle. And we were like, all right, let's build some stairs really high into the sky, which you can do. Like people actually have forts like in the sky sometimes. It's crazy. It's crazy. So we were building really high, and at the top we were going to put a jump pad, and you jump on it and you fly. That's how you fly, basically.
That's awesome. I like that.
But you're doing that, and like as we're doing it, we're like, wait, someone's shooting at us. And before we even know it, someone had shot out the bottom stair at our first stair. And once the bottom stairs go, all the other stairs go. And of course, all four of us, just plummeted to earth, and like they were just watching us and we all die.
That's the funniest
it's amazing. There's things that like happen, like and we're like, no. There's nothing you can do. Yeah, there's nothing you can do.
I bet that guy was laughing so hard.
Probably.
Oh, I'm sure they're like idiots. Yeah. You can get down in the game, which I really like. It's like Gears, where it's like the sense that if you get killed and you're in a group, you don't die. You go down and you have like X amount of time before you actually do die.
Right.
So
and it's a pretty long time.
It is a pretty long time. So you can crawl around and you have to like save your friends. Like I'm down. Like I'll come save you. And like very heroic moments, like saving people. Like the other day, like my buddy Corey was down. He's like, "Come save me, come save me." I'm like, "All right, okay, I'll come save you," even though I'm like rolling my eyes. And, like I run up there, and the guy has like a revolver, like aimed right at him, and I'm like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Bam!" And it's such a dun 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 like heroic moment in my gaming experience.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
It's great. And another thing that I really do enjoy about Fortnite is the developers are really great about giving updates.
Yeah.
They continually give great updates. They've improved the map significantly. They keep adding new places to go to. They have adjusted the weapons accordingly, like based on this and that, and it's like super smooth. They've totally enhanced the game by a lot since I first played it.
So the
Nice.
beta is working.
Yeah,
so
it's
they're
working
actually
really
doing
well.
their job. It's not like, oh, it's a soft beta.
No,
and then
they're-
the game comes out a freaking week later,
Right,
and you're
I
like,
know.
what was the point
yeah,
of this?
well, I didn't.
Yeah.
What could they've learned and then implemented in that
So
time?
at least this is a case of they're actually using that time to
I think
learn
so.
and make significant
From
improvements.
what I can tell, I mean, I think the game's gotten so much better that it looks better. They've like basically, I remember watching. They made the forest feel more foresty, is what they said. They made the towns feel
Not
more like a
enough
town.
leaves.
Yeah, they really kind of emphasize different geographical locations in the map, and that's really nice. It like totally enhances the game, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, the battle royale mode is fun. I wish I could do the co-op mode. I think that'd be very fun as well. And you can like really build stuff, and it's like versus zombies, and it like sounds fun. But as far as like a battle royale game, it's like totally scratches my itch. It's
Nice.
totally for
Nice.
me. It's like a perfect kind of game.
Nice.
I love this kind of stuff. It's like team efforts, strategy. It's competitive. It feels like a nice, different version of what we find in Halo.
Yeah.
Is Fortnite for PlayStation?
It is.
Oh,
is,
okay.
yeah.
Hurrah.
Hurrah!
Yeah,
it's
it's
very
for both.
fun.
You've piked my interest, sir.
It's a great game.
I've enjoyed it, but
It's
like
fun.
Like I said, I know my limits, and I know that
It's addicting.
I have to like pick it up just every once in a while
Yeah.
and play.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of
Well,
fun.
that's why your building sucks.
It is true. It is true. I do not practice my building near enough.
No, you don't. All right. Dishonored 2.
Boom.
Game I've been wanting to play since it came out last year, so I am absolutely late to the party. I think at one point it may have won an award for like Best Action Game of the Year or something like that, and it deserves it. So in many, many ways, Dishonored 2 feels like a very direct extension of Dishonored 1. And not just like in terms of storyline, but also in terms of feel. It feels like they just released a huge patch for Dishonored a couple of years later, and they were like, hey, here's the rest of the game, sorry about the delay. And it's like, oh, actually, it's a different game. So the story is... Spoiler alert for Dishonored 1. You were, of course, you already know this. So in Dishonored 1,
don't.
you played as... Because I've talked about it.
Oh.
Never mind. Anyways,
it's fine,
plug
whatever.
yours,
I
Jerrett.
should have played the
So
game by now.
in Dishonored 1, you play as Corvo Attano, and you're like the royal protector of a woman named Empress Jessamine Caldwin. And she has a daughter, Emily Caldwin. And it's never expressly stated until the very end of the game, and of course the second game, Emily is in fact Corvo's daughter. So like him and the Empress like
Yes.
had a side thing.
They got a little too close on the
They were
job.
secret boos, and so the Empress Jessamine, she gets murdered like minute one. She gets super killed, and you're like, I failed, like very Batman-esque. But so the rest of the game for Dishonored 1 is you're playing as a man on the run. You've been framed for the Empress's murder, blah, blah, blah. Dishonored 2 is that copy-paste, but in a different way. So you now have the option to play either as older Corvo Attano or Empress Emily Caldwin, because she is
Nice.
now grown up. She's like probably mid to late 20s, because I think in the first game she was like 10 to 12, and now it's 15 years later is the time frame. So it's been 15 years since all of the events of the first Dishonored. Emily now sits on the throne. She's the legitimate empress. She's kind of like bad at her job though, because she's like young. She's a young woman and she like wants to have fun, and she didn't ask to be empress, blah, blah, blah. So there's like some murmurs in the kingdom. There's some goings on in Dunwall that are like, okay, some shit's not going so well on the side. And basically what you know is that someone is trying to frame you as the empress for these things called the Crown Killer murders, which are all of the Empress's naysayers, all of her critics are winding up dead. And everybody's like, oh, she's having all of her critics murdered. And it's like, no, everybody, I swear I'm not. It's definitely not me and my dad, who's also a very well-known murderer. It's definitely not us. And everybody's like, no, it really is. And at some point, you're just having like a regular meeting of statelyhood. I don't know how empressdom works. And somebody just rolls up into your palace and they're like, hey, by the way, this person right over here, this is the real empress. And so you have this aunt that has come out of the woodwork to basically claim your throne. And she's like, Emily Caldwin is a murderer. She's behind the Crown Killer murders. And they just coup you. They straight up get you right out, like in the span of 5 seconds. And you're like, this freaking sucks.
Shouldn't have a better, protections in place for that?
Well, they sort of did, but here's the thing. So this is very much like the oldest trope in the book of how to get somebody out of the way. When all of this goes down, that's when the game gives you the option. It's like, okay, are you going to play as Corvo or as Emily?
Oh, you don't get to switch.
No, you don't get to switch.
I thought you got to switch per level basis.
Because when you pick whoever you pick, the other one that didn't get picked gets turned into stone by the new empress. So her name is Delilah. So Empress Delilah Caldwin, who's claiming to be the long-lost sister of Jessamine Caldwin. She's also like a super witch. Like, she's not even like a little magical. She's ultra magical. So see, she straight up turns Corvo into stone, which has happened to Princess Zelda 80,000 times. So I'm like, ha, it's your turn, buddy. I, the Empress, I'm going to finally live for once, and I'm going to go out and fight. So I, of course, picked Emily because I'm not crazy. I was like, no, I want to pick the new person. So you are now Emily Caldwin, and you're on the run. Again, it's basically Dishonored 1, cut and paste, but with a slightly different slant on it. And something that I noticed very quickly through pretty much all 3 of the first missions, which is about how far I've gotten in, I'm only about 3 missions in, is if you're playing as Emily, I don't know if it's different if you play as Corvo, but like it got to a certain point where I was like, every major character I've interacted with so far have all been women. Like, literally all of them. Even your main villain, Delilah. She's one of the first people you meet that's like a big bad, and it's like, okay, she's a lady. Then you immediately go and meet your helper person, which is Megan Foster. And she's the protagonist later of her own side game, Death of the Outsider.
Oh, okay.
That's right. So that's Megan Foster. So this is when you meet Megan Foster. She's such a badass. She's like a grizzled ship captain, and she's only got one arm, and she's like, I've killed a man with my eyes shut. And you're like, oh God, Megan, you're really scary. And I'm very afraid of you, but I also love and admire you. And she's like, so she's kind of your fairy person. She's who takes you around to all of the different sections of the game.
Those are Samuel in Dishonored 1?
Exactly. She serves the same function as Samuel does. And there are certain times where it'll mention like old people from the first game, and Emily will be like, oh, I miss Samuel. And I'm like, me too, Emily. I miss that old guy too. So there are certain elements of the game that come back from Dishonored 1, but very much in a minor setting. So one of the things that they did that is a huge improvement is they radically expanded your powers. So anyone that played Dishonored 1, you know that you have the option you can accept the powers of this guy called the Outsider. And they basically just give you these supernatural powers that you can use mostly to murder people, but some other times to do whatever you will with them. And if you accept the powers of the Outsider as Emily, of course you get your Fade ability, which is like you get to jump from place to place very quickly. People can't really see you, blah, blah, blah. But her other powers, some of them are really new and really different. My favorite one so far is the Chain ability. So let's say that I'm Emily and you're enemies in the distance. You haven't seen me yet, or maybe even you have seen me already, and I want to take out both of you at the same time. The problem is I only have one sleep dart. What do? I can use my Chain ability. Icons will appear over your heads. I'll chain you together. I'll shoot Zach. Both of you go down.
That doesn't seem fair. That doesn't seem fair to me.
Sucks to be you.
The chain ability is awesome. So you can like it.
How many people can you chain?
You can chain
The whole
currently.
game.
I can chain up to 3 people.
Oh, okay.
I think the maximum you can chain is eventually 4. But
my God.
what's interesting is there are very frequently situations where people are out of range of chain, and you have to create an event that brings them all in, and then you're like, haha, fools, and then you get them. Or you have to just very carefully use your limited resources because, for example, sleep darts, which I'm playing pacifist mode, as always. I'm not going to kill anybody.
No fun.
I'm going to choke you out and no one's going to have to die except for maybe like blood flies, which are these gross insects. So I really have died so many times because it's really hard to actually play very stealthily and do it right and make sure that nobody dies in the process. I've accidentally killed the same dude 5 times because I forgot to turn off an electrified wall that kills him. Because like a fool, he keeps running right into it. And I was like, buddy, I'm trying to save you. Go exactly. And he literally gets vaporized.
Right? Yeah.
He doesn't even there's nothing left of him. He just poofs out. And I'm like, God damn it. So then I have to like run and jump off a wall to kill myself before the game auto saves so that I can go back and redo it.
That seems like too much work.
I know. It's a lot of work, but it makes the game very rewarding for me because you can either play in or both. You can play very in-your-face, super battle combat, just all the time, murder, murder, murder. Or you can play super stealthy, super in the background, no one ever sees you. You can get the merciful badge at the end of every chapter where it's like, hey, good job, you didn't kill anybody. And they really amped that up with a lot of Emily's powers. One of the other one is, you may have seen this from the trailer, the shadow walk ability, where it basically turns her into like this skulking shadow that just crawls along on the ground crazily. It's awesome because like you see it from her perspective and you're just like crawling around like this shadow monster, and I'm like, I feel so cool right now. This is awesome. Great. This is great. This is what I wanted. And then there's another new power called Doppelganger, which you can send out a shadow version of yourself to distract enemies, and they'll just run after your doppelganger and you go and get the treasure. So the new powers that they've added in honestly are making the game for me right now because they've created so many new avenues for you to complete your objectives. And of course, in the classic style of Dishonored, you have so many paths to the end. That's really what Dishonored does so well, is like not even thematically paths to the end, literal geographic paths from point A to point B. If you just look up, look around, look down, look to your right, there's a rat, look to your left, there's a bird, you can possess one of them and then go to the end. And just the options of choice are really kind of mind-boggling. Sometimes you sit around and you're like, do I want to go left or right? Because if I go left, there's like 5 guys down there, and I only have 2 sleep darts, and I don't know if I can get them all into a contained space to chain them together and use only 1 sleep dart. And I know I'm going to need the next one later down the line. But if I go to the right, there's no rune stones and treasure down there, and I'm just going to miss out on so much. So you spend a lot of time either going in circles because you can't make a decision if you're like me, or you spend a lot of time dying because you made the wrong decisions. And it's very fun, but also very frustrating. Yeah. So all in all, I would say it's probably an improvement over the first Dishonored. You could absolutely play it without ever having played Dishonored 1. There's not that much story-wise from the first Dishonored that would significantly impact your ability to enjoy the game. So if you've never played a Dishonored and you're thinking, hey, I want to play Dishonored 2, do it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be so great because in addition to the story changing, your location has changed. So you're not in Dunwall anymore. You're on this place called the Southern Isle of Circonos? And it's basically like Italy. And just like Italy, it's super corrupt. And you're like, these bastards. Biting political commentary from Team Chat Podcast. But yeah, so it's a really interesting change of pace. All of the powers are extremely well done. The combat is just as smooth as it ever was. You can choke people out a little bit faster with the help of bone charms, which is very helpful because I need to choke them out all the time and not kill them. I'm like, hello, good sir. One
time, you could chain that neck together.
You can.
Oh, all right.
No, so here's the thing. If you two are a little bit farther apart and I know I can distract just one of you, I can distract you. You're over there. You haven't even noticed that anything has happened. You're chained together. I choke Jerrett out. You both go down. It's the best. But here's the thing.
I would be caught off guard so easily.
You always have to be super careful because I have died stupidly so many times by choking somebody out, turning around to do something else. I forgot to move the body. And then another guy comes through on like his regular shift and he's like, whoa, somebody's down. And I'm like, no. I know. I have to turn around and be like, oh, nobody's here, sir. Just under a table. Nothing's happening. And they're like, I know you're here. And I'm like, you don't, sir. You don't.
Who said that?
So actually, there's a move called Mesmerize where you can make them forget you were ever there.
There you go.
The problem is I don't have enough rune stones yet to have powered up Mesmerize. So even though I know it's an option, I don't have the ability to purchase that option. So that's another thing the game does very well. You know you have all these options from your power tree, but you don't literally have the currency currency to buy them. So it's like, I know at some point I can get that super cool power up. But is it actually worth it in the long game? Because these are the ones I need right now, and I need them very, very badly. So it's really like cost benefit. Do I want to grind it out now with no powers for super big rewards later on? Or am I going to use them up kind of as ad hoc, as needed, and have a kind of easier experience in the short game? It's a real give and take situation.
Yeah.
And in addition, the story is interesting. So it does have a pretty engaging storyline, and as Dishonored always does, their world building is excellent. The notes that you can find, the conversations that you can overhear, the books you can read, even though books are for chumps, they help to create a very cohesive world build.
Nice.
And they just make everything seem really immersive. It's a very immersive game, and that's what I appreciate about Dishonored, and that's why I am looking forward to eventually finishing it. I hope this is one that I'll actually see to completion, assuming I don't get stuck, because I couldn't choke a guy out like Dishonored 1.
Is that why you quit playing Dishonored 1?
I got to a point where I couldn't safely get rid of all of the people and not kill them, so I was like, you know what, this blows.
Sucks.
I'm done.
And what's funny is I was so close to the end too, but I just couldn't get enough sleep darts, and I couldn't find a way to make sure that nobody actually died. And the one time I did, a guy accidentally got eaten by rats because I didn't dispose of his body in a safe place.
Oops.
I was so mad. I got to the end of that chapter and it was like, oh yeah, one guy died eaten by rats. And I was like, that was kind of where I was like, I think I'm done for now.
Step away.
And I never went back because I was salty.
Nice. All right, so those are our wonderful round of reviews. But before we go, let's get some news. With our moment with Mogan.
News, games coming along the line. So for starters, if anybody wasn't paying attention, Stage 1 of the Overwatch League did just conclude. So Stage 1 saw the London Spitfire upset the New York Excel. I myself was also extremely upset because prior to Saturday, February 9th, the Valiant, the LA Valiant, were in the top 3.
Just not good enough
but
to cut
they got deposed not even by losing. The Houston Outlaws beat the Boston Uprising that same day. And because of the way the scoring is done, they not accidentally, but they deposed the LA Valiant.
Oh, wow.
And then when they went into their match versus the Spitfire for who would play the Excelsior, I'm so disappointed in them, and they should be disappointed in themselves. I was
Should they
like,
have won?
Houston, no.
Oh.
They should, Houston should not have been the ones to play the Spitfire.
Oh.
The LA Valiant should have been the ones to play the Spitfire. They are objectively the better team. And I'm sticking by those guns. People can fight me.
Also
all
a
they
little
want
biased
to
here
on
because
that.
you are a big fan of the
I mean,
Valiant.
I'm a huge fan of Valiant for a reason. They're the better team. They're objectively
Couldn't
the
beat
better
Spitfire,
team.
apparently.
No, they weren't able. They've beaten them before.
I know. I'm just talking shit.
Yeah. Anyways, so whatever. So the LA Valiant didn't get to fight the Spitfire. Houston lost horribly. It was very embarrassing for them. They failed to take 2 points.
Oh wow.
They didn't even get first points on Eichenwald and Anubis.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was not good.
That's
lost,
crazy.
They lost bad. And the Spitfire went on to earn their place as the top dogs for Stage 1. Stage 2 starts a week from when this episode airs on a Wednesday. So you can come back for Stage 2 next time. It's going to be awesome. I'm really excited. And then coming soon, we have Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology for the 3DS on February 13th. What is Tuesday?
Tuesday is,
That'll be
or
the
today,
13th, right?
Today, yeah, the 13th.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So out now, Radiant Historia, blah, blah. Monster Energy Supercross, the official video game. That is, in fact, the full title of the
Okay.
game. It says the official video game. PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, February 13th. The longest 5 minutes. Switch, Vita, and PC.
Vita.
Yeah, right. February 13th
Viva
as
la
well.
Vita.
Secret of Mana, a very, very old franchise,
Yeah.
getting a bit of a facelift for PS4, PC, and Vita again, February 15th.
Vita lives.
And most importantly, Bayonetta's 1 and 2 are coming to the Switch February 16th.
Nice.
Right along with Faye, for PS4, Switch, and Xbox One February 16th.
Very cool.
Those are the ones I'm looking forward to.
Which one are you getting Faye on? Are you getting on Switch, or
Switch.
PS4?
No, I'm going to get it on Switch.
Really, you're not going to go for those sweet trophies on the PS4?
No, that does
Surprising.
sound fun, but I feel like it's a very Switch compatible game,
Yeah, I
and I
get
want
it.
to play it on my Switch. So.
Cool. Awesome. Thank
Yeah,
you for
that's
that
your
news. All right. Well, before we go to the close of this episode, we do have our hint for this week. I forgot when I was doing that Andrew already actually sent the hint for this week. So his hint is, who needs a hammer when you've got a nail? Who needs a hammer when you've got a nail?
Interesting.
All right. So song contest goes live Wednesday 9 a.m. the day after this episode airs. So February 14th, Valentine's Day. Be sure to say hello to and I love you to your loves. But so check on our Facebook and Twitter on that day because we'll put a post out. First person to correctly guess the game from the song and hint given will be able to, well, not be able to since we're going to take a brief hiatus. But you could be the first to send us a song. Okay, if you win, your song submission will be the featured one for next week. So that's how we'll do that.
I knew you'd get to it eventually.
I know. Wheels are turning constantly.
Yeah, you just always need a second.
I just got to talk it through in my own head, you know. So if you win, your song will be the first one featured in the Song Shock Spotlight. So, but with that concludes this episode of Team Chat Podcast. Until next time, I'm one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Sayonara.
And to my left, Zachary Parks.
Peace out.
We'll see you all next time. Stick around for the song.